Hello to all you lovely flossy friends who live in my phone, and welcome to Flosstube number 19. I'm thrilled that you have chosen to press play and spend a little time hanging out with me today. This is one of my favourite things to do, speak to you. I wish that we could speak in person, but this is as close as we can get. So I'm really, really happy that I'm with you here just now. Be you a returning friend or somebody here for the first time, everybody is always welcome. And for those of you who I haven't got to know yet, I'm really thrilled to have the opportunity. Hopefully you enjoy yourself here. So, as I said, it is Flosstube number 19. Today is Friday, the 6th of February. How did we get? It's the 6th of March. This is, yeah, exactly. January was like 9 weeks long. February was a long weekend, and we're already in March. I have no idea how that happened, but here we are. It's a beautiful, beautiful day here. I don't have any lights on. We're going by daylight. Hopefully it won't get too dark. I do have a light set up just in case, but I hate using a ring light. So hopefully we will get by with just sunlight, because it's a beautiful, beautiful day out there. Blue skies. When was it? A couple of days ago, I was out of the house around lunchtime. And I didn't need a jacket or anything. It was lovely walking around and just, you know, a normal top. I didn't even have a thick jumper on. That being said, I was back out again at 4:30 in the afternoon for an appointment, and by then it was bitterly cold, because blue sky means no clouds, which means no insulation, which means it gets cold. But anyway, you don't need to hear about the weather. What are we here for? We are here to talk about cross stitch mainly. For those of you who are new here, my name is Pam. I go by Ditsy Daisy Crafts here on Flosstube and also over on Instagram. And my channel is mostly about cross stitch. Occasionally there's other little bits thrown in, not as often as I would like, because I am just obsessed with my cross stitch and I never seem to put it down long enough to touch anything else. So today, again, mostly cross stitch, one black work. And yeah, hopefully lots to keep you occupied. But before that, how are you? Are you fine? Are you well? Seriously, how are you? World's not a fun place at the moment. It's a little bit heavy. The world does not seem to understand the assignment that spring is kind of just round the corner. The days get longer, the skies are getting brighter, it's getting warmer. This is meant to be a time of optimism and hope and having a little bit more pep in our step as we move forward into these lovely warmer months. The world doesn't seem to understand that, and it's tough. So hopefully you get to hang out with me today, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, and escape from all that, and we'll just have fun talking cross stitch. But seriously, I do hope you're okay and you're looking after yourself, and life is being as kind as it possibly can be. Cross stitch wise, what have we got? I have worked on 14 pieces in the 2 weeks since I last spoke to you. I have 13 of those here for you today to see, including an unexpected finish. Really wasn't expecting it, but I'm thrilled that I have. I've actually got 2 finishes, but I've got one to show you. So yeah, it's been a really busy couple of stitchy weeks. I've got a really busy March. I'll show you my list for what I'm hoping to touch in March. And I knew that time's going to be precious, so I kind of got a head start on some of my sals, so that if something has to give, I can ease off a little bit on those without feeling too guilty. So it's been a really busy couple of stitchy weeks. A lot of stitches gone into some dear favourites, ready to make space for lots of new starts this month, and there will be plenty. So I do have 2 new starts to show you. Don't be overcome by excitement when you realise just how small they are. So yesterday I decided that I needed to start thinking about St. Patrick's Day. I do have some St. Patrick's Day pieces that I did a couple of years ago now, some Cherry Hill Stitchery ones, but I fancied adding to the pile because, you know, it'd be rude not to, and I have several I would like to do. And so I started on Shamrock Kisses, I think it's called. And I didn't get very far. Now, if you've been here before, you'll know that this is one of the ones where I've been stitching multiples of them over the last year. Easter, Halloween, Christmas, all sorts of different things. And I have them all in little wooden frames that I decorate seasonally as well. So this is actually the last one that I will be working on for the time being, to complete my kind of seasonal decor set for now. I'm not saying that there won't be more done in the future. And this, I would say, is probably the most straightforward of them all. There are 2 greens in it, and that's it. Have I got a photo? I think I have a photo. I think I was organised. Doesn't happen often. There we go. Look at that daylight bouncing off there. Woohoo! Love it. But there we go. So, like I say, 2 greens, and that's it. Really simple and straightforward. So I wanted to do mine a little bit different. So I am doing mine on a 28 count Zweigart Mimosa, which is quite a springy green. That's possibly not bad. It's maybe a little bit brighter. And I just picked a couple of greens from Stash. So where they've got like a really bright limey green, I've got a more muted. But yeah, straightforward. So my plan was, it was crafty night last night, and the normal project I take with me I had finished. I'll get to that later. So I was looking for something to take with me. So I thought in the morning, I'll start this, I'll get a head start on it, and then I'll take it with me in the evening. So that was fine. I was pootling around doing jobs, and I got some stitches. And how many did I get in? I got 354 stitches in this, and like I say, this is an easy one. So that's actually at 46.09%. I'm almost halfway there. So I pootled and got a good start on it, knowing that I wouldn't be finishing it last night. Craft and chatter is chatter, with a little bit of crafting as well. So that was that. So anyway, I checked my emails, and the Primrose Cottage free monthly had come out, and I'm like, oh, I like that. I'm going to start it too. So I then downed that one and picked up the other one to start, and took it with me instead. I actually started it there. So this is it here, if you haven't seen it. Spring Blessings. It's ever so pretty. It's so cute. So that's it there. So I had some of the called for fancy floss. A couple of others I substituted with ones I had, which are pretty much identical. And this one I have got on a 28 count Zweigart Lagana in light blue. And that is the start I made last night. That is, where are we? 241 stitches, which, to be fair, for a craft and chatter is not bad going. That being said, the focus was on chatter. And these are 1 stitch taller than they needed to be, because I was just having fun with my friends and lost count. I think what I did was I thought I was counting from the inside. I did the bottom and then counted how many up I was, but I kind of like started it from, yeah, I wasn't paying as much attention as I should be. So that is where we are at with that one. So that was completely unexpected start, just on an offcut of blue, which is actually coming across reasonably well there. This is the joy of daylight. It makes so much difference. So yeah, those 2 smalls are started. Now, I did think about getting the St. Patrick's Day one certainly done in time for putting up for decor this year. But then I realised that Warriors have got a smalls event towards the end of the month. I think it starts something like the 22nd. So I'll possibly just hang fire with those 2 and do them for that. And I have another couple of Primrose Cottage St. Patrick's Day starts as well. I've got Lucky and, is it Happy St. Patrick's Day, I think is the name of the other one. I'll probably try and get those started as well, and they'll go up next year instead. But you'll see those, it won't be the next time because it'll be the 20th. I'm trying to do every fortnight. I'm trying to be disciplined and doing every fortnight. So it'll be not the next one, but the one after, where hopefully you will see those in a reasonable state of affairs. So those were my 2 starts. As always, I have got notes here. If you've been here before, you know that I have notes because I can't remember anything. So yeah, shall we move on to whips? My works in progress. Now, these are ones that you have seen reasonably recently. I think I've got a couple that you didn't see last month. Yeah. But other than that, they've been recently, because as I said, I've been trying to get a head start on some of these to allow me a little bit of play this month. I mean, we're already nearly a week into this month. But my first whip is one that, if you've been here before, you know it's one of my favourites, and this is it here. It's the Pigeon Coop Quebec seasonal series of little vignettes. Now, if you haven't been here, I'm just going to recap really quickly, so I'm sorry if I'm boring the people who have been here before. But I started this back in August, kind of last minute unplanned start, with the plan being that I would do each of these little vignettes within the season. It's the scene in Quebec and it's the same season throughout the year. So I started with summer, this one here, and I started that in August with a view to getting it finished before the autumn equinox on the 21st of September. So I cracked on and did all of that one. And then for autumn, I thought I've got to make it last until December. And I did. But it was hard work because I just wanted to crack on and stitch it because I was enjoying it so much. And then I have done the same in the winter one. I started it after the equinox on the 21st of December and have done it in 3 pieces up to then. So this last one here, the last time you saw it, I had everything done bar the water, which in this case is actually frozen into ice. And the theory being I would do the sky, then the land, and then the water, and that would be the 3 months. So I have now finished the water on this one, and I have it finished. So I now have 3 out of the 4 scenes completed, and I love that they are all really different colours. The spring one isn't. The spring one is very similar to the summer colour scheme, just a little bit more subtle, more light, you know, spring rather than the pure verdance of summer. So if I show you it here, you can see it's just that little bit lighter. I would say it's possibly one of the more, actually it is the most complex of all 4 when it comes to stitching them, and I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to doing it. I love these so much. I just adore them. And again, this one has, you can't really see it very well, it's got some branches in it. I started the summer one, and you've got a mixture of deciduous and evergreen trees in there. By autumn, the deciduous trees were still green, the evergreens had turned to their autumn colours, and by winter, we've still got our evergreens, but our deciduous trees have shed their leaves. So you've got trunks and branches in there in a backstitch. And again, in spring, there's a little bit of backstitch in there as well, as those trees are starting to grow their leaves, their new foliage. So it's that kind of attention to detail that Max Pigeon is a genius at, conveying so much in really quite a simple graphic style, but just a joy to stitch. And I'm quite excited knowing that I'm on the last one, and hopefully I will have this on my wall reasonably soon. So that's that one. As you can see, I'm just over 3/4 of the way there. I didn't count stitches on that one because it is what it is. So that's that one. The next one I've got is a biggie to get out of the way for now, and that's this one. This is my Steady Thread colour wheel, which actually daylight is doing wonders for those colours. I do have a bit of whiteboard behind it, so that you can't see through it, because those top colours in particular, the yellows, are quite difficult to see. So this is Steady Thread. It has, where are we? it doesn't actually say on the instructions here, is it, how many colours there are there, but I think it's 126 or something like that. So I have started at the middle and I am working outwards. My plan is I've broken the year down into sections weekly, divided them up so that I know exactly where I am at any one point to keep up to date, to have this finished just in time for the new year. So that is where I am at. I have got 20 sections in now. Some of them I have restitched. I realised when I went to pick it up to put in the last two, because these I was doing 4 a week, and then this one's the next row out, I'm doing 2 a week. And it'll be 2 a week right up until towards the end, when it'll go up to 3 a week to get them all done. So when I pulled it out, I realised that I had missed a green. And this colour I had done down here, because this one I bought the floss to go with it. They're all DMCs and they're done in 1 strand over a 16 count Ada, so it's nice and crisp. I bought the floss kit from the Steady Thread, so you have a length of each colour, which is more than enough. I've never got past using 2 lengths, and even then it's not 2 full lengths. But all the colours are there, and they're all in the right order, and they're all marked up for which section they are used for, to make it really, really straightforward. So straightforward that I had obviously misread it. So I had to unfrog this last 2 here of the skinny ones, do them in the correct colours, and then I could move on. So that is where we are at with that one, and I am loving it. It's still hard work reaching in, because I did want to keep it all on a big, this is a 17-inch Q-snap, to keep it nice and taut, so that I didn't have to keep taking it in and out. But it means it's quite a reach into work on it when you've got short little arms like I do. But these were already getting easier because they're so much closer. So I just, because again, with it being black work, it's not directional. You can, you know, rotate it round without it being an issue at all. And I just rotate my screen, lock the screen and rotate it just to make sure I've got the right one in the right place. And with the pattern running in the right direction as well. So yeah, that is that one. So I'm up to date. Like I say, I've got the first 20 done. Still a long, long way to go, but it says we're already in March. That'll be here before we know it. Love that one, absolutely love it. Completely different from cross stitch. Some of the patterns, when you kind of like you're figuring out how they work, it takes a little bit to get into the swing of finding the best pathway through them, because they are kind of more complicated. There's a lot more thought required, not just counting. But yeah, just love it. So the next one I have, that one is running the whole year, and the next one I've got is also running throughout the year, and it's beautiful. This is it here. It's the Drawn Thread Butterfly Garden, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I bought this as a kit from Chris at the Nimble Thimble months and months ago, and sat on it waiting for January to start it, because when you look at it, there's 12 sections going across it, 11 plants, and then the house in the middle. 1 a month is absolutely perfect. So you saw, right, and yes I am. I did Buddleias in January, and February was Phlox. So I'm up to date with February, and this is where I'm at. And I love it. I love it so much. This has been stitched on a 32 count, is it Picture This Plus? Yes, Picture This Plus, called Vellum, which it's showing on camera as more mottled than it is in real life. But it is just the most beautiful fabric. I think it's possibly my new favourite. I've got lots of projects that would go really nicely on this. So as I said, I bought this as a kit from Chris at the Nimble Thimble, and I would very much recommend getting the kits from her, because this is stitched in silks. There's dinky dyes, there's MPIs, and I can't remember what the third one was. Nope, it's gone. But she gives you a length of each, or 2 lengths, 3, you know, however many you need to do the chart, without having to buy a full skein of each. And you know, when you're looking at about maybe a £5 a skein, when you're kitting up from scratch rather than having, you know, a stash already, that works out really, really expensive. This is a much more economic way of getting what you need, and there's plenty. There's so much more than you need in there. And I just love the silks. I am thoroughly enjoying working with them. I'm doing it in one thread strand. I tried doing both words at the same time, and I love it. I think Sally from Flossy Sews and Grows. I can't speak today. I seem to be having this problem a lot. Menopause sucks. Yeah, Sally from Flossy Sews and Grows. She loves stitching with one thread, and I think I might be becoming a convert because I'm loving this. This one was a bit more of a challenge for me, because those phlox flowers, I'm not going to show you them close up because, you know, you don't need to see that. But they are Lazy Daisies, which with a really silky slippy thread was a challenge. And I have to say, I've never stitched butterflies in greys and dark umbers, but they work. So when I did this, I had a little bit of the green for the words, a shorter bit left, and I thought, oh, it might be enough to do the phlox. It wasn't quite long enough, so I started another one, and because I had it on the needle, I just carried on. And I've done Tansy, and this is the start of Bergamot. I thought, I'm not stopping just because it's the end of the month, I'll just run across with that. The only problem I did have with this one was that the green for the stems of the phlox wasn't in the kit, and that is absolutely of no fault of Chris, because it's not on the supply list on the back of the chart. There's a whole page of a key, because you have the keys for different colours, and you also have a key for all the different stitches, because they're specialty stitches every month. So they're shown separately, and then the chart itself is divided into 5 because it's a long thin chart. And on each page there's full instructions there as well about what colour the stems are and what colour the wording is. And that's the only place that this floss was mentioned. It wasn't mentioned on the supply list on the back, so Chris didn't stand a chance. But I just substituted an over dye I had that was a kind of similar colour. It's not the end of the world if it's not exactly the same colour, because it was literally like 2 lengths, and that was it. I'm not ordering a whole thing just for that, and you can't tell the difference. But that is it. Excited about this one, kind of cursing myself that I've decided to do it over the year, because that means I've got to wait for December to finish it. What's the last one we've got? Blackberry is the last one. Got Buddleia, Phlox, Tansy, Bergamot, Salvia, Campsie, Sunflower, Verbena, Lantana, Mallow and Blackberry. And I look forward to stitching each and every one of those. However much of a challenge those specialty stitches are to me. So the next one we have got is this one. It's a Dimensions Gold, and it's a wolf. I started this back in January. I bought it May or June last year when we were away on holiday, and we did a wolf walk, which was such an amazing experience. And I wanted to do something to remind us of that. And this is what I chose, because this is actually very similar to one of the wolves that we went out with. We got to take them out for a walk around, have them on leads, 2 people to a wolf because they're very, very strong. And then we got to go and hang out in their, what would you call it, an enclosure? Habitat? A fabulous setup they had. And we got to go and hang out with them in there and feed them and get photos taken and pet them. And they're just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful animals. Loved it, thoroughly enjoyed it, even if it wasn't the pouring rain. So that's what this one is to commemorate. Now, I have never done a full coverage, and I've started a couple since that are almost full coverage, but not completely. There are areas where there's like little bits for like sky and that you see through the stitching. So this is my only full coverage. So when Whip Warriors had a lion versus lamb, you know, March coming in like a lion, going out like a lamb, this was the only one I could work on because it specified it had to be completely full coverage. So I did some work on it. I put in 520 stitches. So this is now, how many stitches have I got? I never actually made a note of how many there is in total, but it's at 14.96%. So it's, I think I'll probably need to move my hoop. I'll probably move it onto a Q-snap, or maybe sew some fabric around the edge to give me a bit more play. And again, it comes up past the top. But for now, I'm happy working on this. And then, so yeah, so I'm down at the bottom corner. Still got a ways to go with this one. The challenge itself has got a challenge that runs over the month, and then there are weekly ones. And the first weekly one was to do 5 blocks of 500 stitches, complete blocks. I'm not interested in doing that. That's not how I stitch. So I decided not to do that one. And also some of this is tent stitch. Some of it, I mean, most of it is 2/2. Some of it is 3/2. Some of it is, you know, 3/2 cross, half cross. It's a mixture of each. So for now, I'm trying to just stick with the same. So my next thing is to do, there's a fair bit of filling that I can now do around here, but that's in tent stitch. So when I count my stitches, obviously I'll have to half that to work out how many cross stitches I've done. So trying to negotiate that with doing the blocks, it just wasn't going to work. But you can just see these 2 voids of where the eyes are going to be. I promised myself I would try and do more of the background and leave all the really interesting bits towards the end. How I'll do with that, I don't know. So I'll just have to see what the next weekly challenge is this coming Sunday, but still keep plugging away with it over the month as well. It's only a little one, it's only a baby. I'm understanding now the attraction more about full coverage. I'm loving seeing this grow and come to life. I'm not liking this fabric. It's an 18 count white Ada, and I don't like it. It feels tight and scratchy, and you know, you're putting your needle through, it's like you can hear your needle go through. But I'm really, really pleased at how it's coming out. So that is that one. And the last of my regular whips is the one I pulled out for my Christmas stitching on the 25th. This is done with a nod to Kat from Catkin and Lily. It's officially called Merry Christmas, but we call it DJ Santa. She's stitching this one as well, and is a lot further on than me. She was using this as her stitch in December, where she added to it every day. So she's much further on than me, but this is where I am at. Everything I did this time I did in white. Believe it or not, that is the same colour white as that. It just looks completely different. That is odd. But yeah, I'd kind of got to about here with the white, so I've taken it all along here, and then I've done the bottom of Santa's coat. So that is what it will look like. It's not going to be finished for this Christmas, but I'm loving it. So that white is a lot of veg. It's a lot of veg between all the snow at the bottom, where you've got to count, you know, to make sure that you get the snowflakes right. And then Santa has got a fair bit of white in his beard. But also that snowman, there's a lot of white stitching on there. So there's also a lot of border on there. You can see kind of how intricate that border is there. So yeah, I've got a lot of edge to eat before I get into the more exciting bits. Although I have to say, I love doing the reindeer. He's ever so sweet. So yeah, I stitch something Christmassy on the 25th of every month. I have a fair few whips. I think I'm up to about 57. So I haven't checked because I've still got figures to update. And about half of them are seasonal, the majority of which are either Christmas or Halloween. I would say more Halloween than anything. So I'm trying to do Halloween one day a month and Christmas one day a month, just to make little nibbles in that. So this one I added in 552 stitches, which is a reasonable nibble, which has got me at 15.74%. I do love that one. I like working on it, even if there's a lot of edge. And I'm really looking forward to having it finished. If you saw my January Flosstube where I went over what I stitched on in December, you might remember that I had a whole series of different things stitched on the same 28 count Zweigart top even weave as that, with the same colour schemes, with a view to them all being kind of like able to display with each other, and that's one that's going to match beautifully in with those as well. So I'm quite excited to eventually get that finished so that they will all go nicely together. But like I say, it's not going to be this Christmas. So this sees us moving on to my sals now. And I did a lot of work on my sals, apart from this first one, which is Emerald City, which is a stitch along that started back in July 25. But you can still join in now. There's absolutely nothing to stop you joining in now. Jen from Jen's Stitchy Corner started this stitch along, and it's using this Owl Forest chart, which is a freebie from the Owl Forest website. You get this chart absolutely free, and they ran it as a sal themselves back in, I think it was 2019. So it's already divided into the 11 parts that they issued it in. So started here with the house, Dorothy and Toto, and worked up, and then did this. Emerald City was actually 3 parts because it's so big. And then last time I was doing here, and I'm started here. This is part 9 here, part 10. Where was that? Part 10, and then part 11 down here. So that is the chart itself. Mine is very subdued compared to that. Mine is very muted tones, and mine has huge great gaps in it, and there's a reason for those gaps. So I'll leave this up just now. I don't know if you can see particularly well that there's lots of little motifs kind of dotted around, and flowers as well. I've decided to leave those blank for now because I am going to go back and I am going to bead those elements. So that hopefully is going to add a pop of colour into it. It's going to be a case of trying to find the right beads in the right tones to not overwhelm the background. So yes, you'll find lots of spaces on my stitch that are on here. And I have been very much winging it and doing my own thing when it comes to colours. I've been trying to get ahead of myself, and I was ahead of the game. I finished part 8 long before, I think I finished it before the part 8 start date. There is a Facebook page that has all the official dates on it, and I'll link that below. But I wanted to get ahead because obviously it's going to take a fair bit of time to do all the beading. But this is where I'm at. So this part 8 was up here. So I have been making bits up as I go along as well. I have completely changed the colours. I'm not using anything called for. I'm just using what my grubby little paws have to hand. I've got a fair bit of light effects, which doesn't really pick up very well on the camera, but that's light effects. Tin Man. I've got Whisper here. I've got some metallics in Emerald City. And that is where I am at. I'm stitching this on a 28 count Picture This Plus, is it? Let me see. Yeah, Picture This Plus in jade, which is a beautiful fabric. And it's on a 28 so that those beads will sit nicely on it. The beads are designed for a 28. So I've started section 9, but all I have done is a very sweet little flying monkey here, and he's adorable. He's ever so cute. And I really enjoyed stitching him, but I stalled. And I stalled for a reason, because the next part here is, I don't know the proper name for it, but it's like the magic cap. I don't know how well you can see that. And that is what controls the monkeys to get the, you know, kind of become their master. And I'm going to be stitching that 1/1 in metallic. And I've been avoiding it. I have been procrastinating and putting off doing that. I've also been procrastinating unpicking my Welcome to the Forest banner as well, but we'll just not talk about that because I don't have it here today. But yes, I have been procrastinating, and I have been avoiding doing that 1/1 in light effects, which is a bit like having your eyes gouged out with a rusty teaspoon. But I need to crack on and do it. And then there's kind of lots of individual bits in here. It's going to be lots of finding colours that I like and all that kind of thing. I need to pull my finger out and get on with that. I don't want to fall behind, because as I said, it's going to take ages to bead it. Once all that basic stitching is done, I don't want to be adding beads on until all the basics are in. So that's that one. I added 418 stitches in that flying monkey, and I really need to crack on. So hopefully by the next time you see this, it will have a fair bit more in it. Not sure if it's going to be later this month, or if that might be April. As I said, I've got a busy March planned. So my stitch alongs, I kind of have made a promise to myself that I will do my best to get 500 stitches in a month on each of them. That feels like a decent amount of progress to me. Because of what I've got listed in March, if I have to make any changes, what I've done is I've put extra in my stitch alongs so that I can take them out and they won't fall behind. So my stitch alongs, I've put double in to most of them. I've put more than 1,000 stitches in to the next 4 in the last 2 weeks alone, which has been a fair bit of stitching. I've possibly overdone it at times. I've had sore hands and sore shoulders and sore... Cross stitching is an extreme sport, we all know this. But yeah, I wanted to get ahead of the game. So the first one I have got for you is this one. This is another L Forest. I've got another couple of pictures to show you. And this is it here. This is Hummingbird. And this was an unexpected start back in November, end of November. Ellie from Stitching Bee, lovely Ellie, she and I had decided that we would start the next one that I'm going to show you, not this one, the next one, in November. It's got thistles on it, so it tied in with St Andrew's Day. Oh, that's somebody ringing my doorbell. Just ignore them and pretend we're not here. It's a child. So that was our stitch along, and it kind of grew, and lots of people started joining, and it became an Owl Forest stitch along rather than Bumblebee Noon. So Ellie set up a lovely chat group on Instagram. Again, I'll link Ellie's details down below. So I was chatting on there with a pal, Kerry from AICrossStitch, who decided she was going to do this, and I'm like, oh, I do love that one. I've got the chart. I do love it. And she's like, oh yeah, it's only a little one. Another one wouldn't do any harm. So I went from thinking about it late morning, having had a conversation, to starting it that afternoon. So it is not using the cold force. It is using what I could pull out of my stash that would work. But it's not far off. It's not bad. The only thing that's different really is the hummingbirds are a little bit darker than they are in the original. But I'm happy enough with that. And I love this. I love the colours. I love how bright it is. Stitched on a 32 count Mercedes, which again is that. Yeah, that's a picture of this plus. I do like a picture of this plus, I have to say. And it's I'm delighted with it. So it was really no hardship to do a little bit extra on this one. So this one I added in 1038 stitches. And where are we? What did I work on? I'd started just a little corner of this motif. So I finished all that. I think I'd done this border. But I put in this border, I put in this motif and these little couple here. And then I put in the 3 hummingbirds there and then started working down on the flower. And then there's a couple of little, they look like snowflakes to be fair. So yeah, that lot came to, I'm trying to think, did I do any of this? No, I think I already had that in. But yeah, that came to 1038 stitches. So as you can see, this is the full width. And that's the bottom. I bar a couple of little stitches down here where the next border starts, and then there's a motif here and one here. Other than that, which is probably less than a dozen stitches, 3 out of the 4 pages are now complete. So I'm well on the way. This is actually at 80.36%, so I'm 4/5 of the way there. So I'll have this finished before the summer. If I do 500 a month, I don't even know if I've got 3 months left. Yeah, I think I've got 3 months left. Whether I make it go to 3 or whether I push on and get it to 2. I think 3 is more realistic, especially say if I want to try and get anything done on it this month. But yeah, that will hopefully be on my wall quite soon. And it's quite deceiving you when you look at these charts. That's actually quite petite. You know, you look at it and go, that's going to be quite a big sampler. It really isn't. So that's that one. And the next one I've got is for the same Owl Around the World Sal, which I should have said, sorry, that's the name of our Owl Forest embroidery stitch along. And you can do any Owl Forest embroidery chart that you want, whether you've already started it, whether you fancy a new start. It can be any of them, any of the freebies. They've got loads of freebies on their website. There's people stitching all sorts of different things, and it's so fabulous to see because everybody's doing different projects. And if anybody is doing the same project, they're doing it in a different way. Some people are using the Owl Forest embroidery floss, which is really, really variegated. It's too variegated for me. I've got my own choices. Like I said, that one I'm just making up. That one I've pulled from Stash, just what it kind of equates. Although it's very hard to get something to equate to an Owl Forest embroidery floss because they're so variegated. It's like, which part do you pick to kind of match from? The Emerald City one, I am just completely freeballing in that. I'm just like, oh, it's only a few stitches. What odds and ends have I got left? And this one, I chose my own floss again. But it's reasonably close. But this is it here. Let's stop procrastinating. This is it here. And this is Bumblebee Noon. And I fell head over heels in love with this the split second I saw it. I knew I had to have it and stitch it. And I just love it. Thistles and fluffy bumblebums. Couldn't ask for better. It's just so pretty. I really love this. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do about this central motif. It's kind of like a ruined castle. Part of it's kind of a little bit Elan Donnan. Yeah, I'm not sure whether I'm going to stitch that or if I'm going to do something different. I would love to be brave enough to do that, you know, where you've got a big hoop and then a small hoop and you cut the fabric away, so it is literally just the wreath. I'm not brave enough to try it, and I'm certainly not brave enough to try it in this because there's a huge amount of work gone into it and I would be terrified that I messed it up. So that's what I'm aiming for. I'm stitching mine on a Picture This Plus fabric this time. It's a 32 count again, and it's called Sprite. Can I get the colour? It's a really difficult one to get the colour to show. It's a kind of pinky lilac. It's coming across quite grey there. It never picks up well, be it in natural light or artificial light. But it's a beautiful, beautiful fabric. And I just love this stitch. I put in 1066 stitches into this, all coming down this side. So this darker leaf here, that just crosses the halfway point. So this side I'm kind of halfway at. This side has still got a bit to go. So I haven't decided whether I want to work round circularly or whether I will take this one down a bit. Haven't decided yet. I'll just see how the mood takes me. But I just love this. I love those fluffy bumble bums. If you've been here before, you'll have heard me mention that I was a little bit concerned about the white not showing up hugely well. It is quite subtle, but you can see it. So there are, where are we? There's 2 greens, 2 purples, a kind of browny kind of colour for this light, the branches here. There's a dark brown for the bumble bums, a white and a yellow for them. So we're 2, 4, 5, 6, 8 flosses, is that? Is that right? Yeah, 8. So not, you know, thousands and thousands of colours to worry about getting up. So most of it I am doing in over dyes, so there's a little bit of variegation in there, but nowhere near as much as in the original. This is the level I am happy with, and I'm thrilled with that one. This is at 37.51%, so there's still a long way to go in this one. I'd like to get it finished before St Andrew's Day of this year in November. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. Like I say, there's a lot of stitching in that, and I'm greedy. I want to stitch all the things all the time. I'm like Katie, Jeremiah's mum. Stitch all the things. So my next stitch along is something. It was a start along with Jen of Jen Stitchy Corner. We had decided last year that we would like to stitch this one together, and this is Blizzard Valley from Max Pigeon. It's from the Cross Stitch in the Forest book. This one here, and this is what it will look like when I'm finished. I'm sure most of you will have seen this by now. It's a really, really popular one. I know Kat from Kat Can Only has had this sitting on her shelf recently. Helen D has recently finished hers, and Jen from Two Tall Crafters, Two Tall Stitchers, yes. She's been working on this, and she's done lots. She's more than halfway there. She's kind of like probably within touch and distance. She's been doing using it as a stitch for the Winter Olympics. So there's lots and lots of people doing it, and it's gorgeous. I can't decide whether I'd like to finish it like that or whether I would like it in a round wooden frame. I haven't decided yet. But that is what I'm aiming for, and this is where I am at. So I started from the middle and worked up. So that is the middle line, I think, exactly there. So as you can see, I've got bits of trees to go in at both sides to finish that hemisphere off it. But this is obviously more stitch heavy because I'm actually just over the halfway point. I'm at 50.95% for this, so just over the halfway point. I added in 1,310 stitches in the last couple of weeks into that one. I wanted to get it halfway because I think I might pop this away. I really want to focus on spring stitches and brighter colours, and kind of get that nice bright feel back. So as much as I love this, and it's compulsive, just one more, I'll just do this bit, I'll just do this bit, as very much many of his charts are. But I think I might put this away until towards the end of the year with a view to getting it finished to maybe go up next winter. But for now, I think I'll give it a little break. So I only have one stitch along left, and I mentioned this one last time. This was my New Year start. And I was speaking about it a couple of weeks ago, my last video, and decided that I would use this for Andrew, the Runner Stitcher's Whip Into Shape, his walking challenge. because I love this. And this is Year of Silhouettes by Joan Elliott. So as I say, I started this on the 1st of January this year. I'm stitching this on a 32 count pole stitches even weave in Daybreak. Yes, double check that, Daybreak. And this is where I am at. I just want to stitch on this all the time. I'm loving monochrome stitching. Oh look, it's monochrome March. I wonder why I have so many projects to do. I'm loving this. I'm loving trying to find the best route to take my stitches and my thread. I'm loving seeing it come together. This one, it looks like I've been working across. I haven't. I've been working in sections. It just happens that I have most of the sections down to the same part. Have I got a picture of this? Let me see. I do. This is it here. So you've got a square with a design for every month, and then you've got an alphabet, and you've got the numbers there. So I have done January and February. I'm currently working on March. It's some children flying their kite. So I have just got in the first of the smaller children. There's another small child here, and then in here there's the girl with her hair blowing in the wind. So yeah, I decided I would stitch this for Whip into Shape. So in the last fortnight I have added in 2,835 stitches, and I've loved every single one of them. And that's a crazy amount of stitches within a fortnight on one project, while I'm still working on the others as well. But I just love it. And that is me completely up to date now with Andrew's walks up to this point for the step count on them. But I'm thinking moving forward, I might try and find a way of doing more. I keep getting in my head that I would like to finish this within a year, but that is going to be some task. I mean, here we are in the 3rd month and the 3rd block. The blocks themselves, I could do a block a month without it being a stress at all, but it's all these extra borders. You've got a really twiddly border in here. The letters are really, really slow to do. You know, there's back stitch bits in all of them. All that extra is going to really slow me down, and then I need to go back, and there's some bits of metallics to be added into this as well. I think this, or is this one not? Maybe this one isn't. I'm stitching this with a CXC 310, the black. First time using CXC, and I'm loving it. Really, really good coverage. It's a bit fluffier. And I found that it can be bits where there's like little fluffier sections where you've got to pull down through your thread to get it nice and even and smooth, but really lovely coverage. So yeah, there's actually just started today, although I haven't done anything today yet. I haven't done any stitching today. A Whip Warriors focus challenge on focus event, where you focus on one piece and try and get as much work done on it. I'll use this for my focus piece over the weekend. I'm not saying I'll come anywhere near those numbers because, well, for starters, I normally stitch on 2, maybe sometimes 3 pieces a day, different things. You know, I'm a flirt. I'm a tart. I flit around between them. Although I do love stitching on this, but I don't want to just ignore everything else between now and Monday. That's not my style at all. And also life's going on, you know, we're going to be out and about doing stuff this weekend. There's plenty of jobs to be done around the house, especially if the weather is like this. We maybe get some bits done in the garden. You know, life is still lifing. And the event itself, it's a competitive one. It's not the normal structure for what you have to do to earn your threads. You're kind of like competing against modmins to try and outstitch them, and that I'm not a competitive stitcher. The only person I compete with is myself. I'm very competitive that way. I like kind of pushing myself on, thinking, oh, I can do this, I could do this, I could do this. But I don't like competing against other people. Not my bag at all. So we'll see. Laura from Stitching by the Shore, she's also doing a kind of focus event over the weekend as well, which is possibly more my scene, my comfort level. She has a free Patreon channel that you can find out more about that. As I said, it's free, you don't have to pay. You can also find out about that on her Facebook page, and also on her floss tubes. I love a Friday because you get a floss tube from Laura on a Friday. I'm still really behind on floss tube. Really behind. I'm trying my best, but I'm finding I still like silence. I've now got into the place where I like stitching in silence. I've given up watching telly. I hardly have floss tube on at all. I'll come back to that later. Because I now have two finishes, one of which I've got here to show you. The other finish I have got is my secret project. Yay, it is done. It is at the framers. I don't know if you were here before, you would have maybe remember me saying that I popped into the framers to see what kind of lead time they wanted. And I said I need it by the start of May. And they said, okay, no problem. 3 weeks, 4 would be good. I'm like, okay. So end of March, thinking that kind of gives them plenty of time. That's like 4 or 5 weeks. And they said, so middle would be better. So it went in this week. I pushed on and got it finished. I'm not hugely happy with how it's being framed. Had I not been doing it as a secret and then not able to kind of like go into the next town to where there's another framers, I was disappointed by their choice of mounts. I didn't actually really want a mount on it. I wanted a very simple finish to it, but they stretch on gripper rods, so it's like a plastic rod that slips down the side of the mount board that they then wrap, and it's got teeth that hold your stitch in place. And I had thought, oh, I could just lace it myself, but it has long straight borders and I was terrified I would get a wibble in my border as I was trying to lace it. So I just wanted to punt the responsibility to that, to the framer, with the theory that there's maybe a little bit more give in this. But because of the way these gripper rods sit, you can't just use a spacer and no mount because they would be visible. So I've had to go for a mount. It's a colour I'm not hugely keen on, with a frame that it's okay. It's not at all what I envisaged. So I just hope when it comes back I'm not disappointed. But it is what it is. I kind of had no choice. I don't know that I'll be using the same framer. I was very much for supporting somebody in my little town, but we'll see. We'll see. He'll maybe do a fantastic job and I'll be thrilled. So that was one of my finishes. So obviously you can't see that now. You'll see that further down the line. And my other one was completely unexpected. And it's this baby. This is the Drawn Thread, Almost Halloween. And as I said, I stitch Halloween one day a month. I do the last day of the month as Halloween stitching because I have so many Halloween projects. I love Halloween stitching. And I don't know why, but I just thought, oh, I'll pick this one out. Quite fancy this one. And I was done up to the pumpkin. So this was all done. So I started from the W across. And I just carried on and I thought, oh, carry on a bit more. It's achievable to finish it. So I stitched half of it. And I love it. Now, I have to say that fabric is reading quite dark there. It's maybe not quite that dark. If you're here back in October when I started this, and I haven't picked it up since October, you'd have heard me saying I was a bit disappointed by it. Again, this was a kit that I bought from Chris at the Nimble Thimble with all the silks, again, stitched in silks, NPIs and dinky dyes, with that all included. Now, I have gone for a darker fabric. It did come kitted up with linen, now like a natural linen. I'm not a linen girl and I wanted something a bit more moody. So this is a 32 count even weave from Coffee Craft, which is showing a fair bit more darker and a fair bit more mottled than it is in real life. It's kind of lilacs and greys. It's quite pinky looking on camera. It is much more kind of like subtle in real life. But the instructions say 1 thread over 2. This is my first attempt at doing stitching with 1 thread. And it just doesn't pop. I don't have the picture here to show you because it's finished. So I've put it away in my finished charts pack. But yeah, it just doesn't pop. The colours look much brighter and more vibrant in the photo. And I would say the same about Butterfly Garden as well, the other drawn thread that I'm working on. The photos, I don't know if they're tweaked a bit too much and the colours do not read true to the floss colours. The flosses are much more subdued, and I kind of really wished I'd gone 2 over 2 on this 32 count, just to see if it would pop a little bit more, because it just kind of disappears into it. That being said, when I was working on it on the 28th of February, so the last day of the month, I kind of fell back in love with it, and I actually really like the 1 thread. As I said, Sally's going to be impressed with me. It does pop better in real life. So there are kind of like the odd bit of different stitching here, like these 2 bats are in satin stitch. I did do those in 2 threads because the one just wasn't enough. The coverage was pitiful. So I did do those in 2. And those little spidders have got button bodies. But yeah, that's finished. Really wasn't expecting to work on this one, let alone finish it. So yeah, I'm absolutely delighted with that one. I kind of know what I'm going to do with it. Kind of. I need to check dimensions. I'm in no rush to finish it because we've got a few months before it needs to be out. But yeah, absolutely delighted with that one. So that is the 13 pieces that I have to show you. I seem to have chatted for ages about them as well. But yeah, lots and lots of stitching this month. This month past. I suppose if we now talk about plans, lots and lots and lots of stitches moving forward. So lovely Kat from Catkin and Lily over on her Patreon, which is a lovely Patreon group. They've decided to have like a monthly theme. February was Fancy February with Fancy Ladies, and March is Monochromatic March, and it's also Modern Folk Embroidery March. So people stitching one or other or both. I've come to love monochrome stitching, and I kind of went through my whips and realised that I currently have 8, and I had another 2 planned to start. One is with Kat. We are going to be starting Spring Equinox. Spring Solstice? I can't remember what it's called. The name's gone now. But we're going to be starting that. I'll be starting it on the 20th, which is the equinox. Kat will be starting a few days later because she is, how dare she? She's going away on holiday. Rude. Commitment. Get your priorities right, girl. But she's going off on holiday for an exciting adventure across the big pond. So she'll start hers when she gets back and has recovered from her jet lag. So we're starting that one on the 20th, and I'm also starting another Joan Elliott, Mermaid's Realm, on the 29th of March, because the 29th of March is International Mermaid Day. Good excuse. So at that point I will have 6 Joan Elliots on the go and 10 monochromatic pieces in total, because there'll be 6 of those, What else? I've got Yasmin's Made with Love. There's a Modern Folk embroidery, so I ticked 2 boxes on that. I've got Great White Christmas. And what's the other one? Oh, it's the Autumn Lane Witch's Brew. So that's my 4. And I've now found another 2 that I want to add to the list. So between now and the end of March, I am hoping to work on 12 monochromatic pieces. So I sat and I made a list of everything I needed to stitch on. I have other starts as well. There was a couple with those 2 Primrose Cottages. I've got another 2 Primrose Cottages to start. I've got a birthday start to have as well. I've decided I've got 2 things I want to start. One is the Hello from Liz Matthews, Busy Hands, Happy Heart, which obviously I can't get my grubby little paws on yet, but I really, 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 really want to start that as soon as I can get it. But in the meantime, I am going to start another chart which I love, which is the Shepherd's Bush, Shepherd's Bush All Is Well, which I have kitted up ready to go, starting this time next week. And I've also, breaking straight into a Kit Kat, you know how I said that I wasn't going to be getting more charts than that? I've accidentally fallen into another stitch along. And it's not the Lola Crow. I cannot afford to do the Lola Crow time-wise. They are so stitch intensive that there's no way I can juggle that and all the other charts I want to do. I'd rather be working on lots and lots and lots of things I'm really excited about. And I have to confess, I'm not one for a mystery sale. I like knowing what I'm getting myself into and what I'm going to be working on, that I'm going to be happy with the end result. That being said, I've signed up for a mystery sale. And you'll giggle at me because it's very typical Pam. It's through the Cotton Club. Is that what it's called? I think it's Cotton Club. And it's like a Woodlands critter one. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that we are massive, massive animal lovers in this house. And we've never met a woodland critter that we don't like. Real sucker for woodland critters. And it's very much 90s style with back stitching that. There's like a little preview of the end of it. It's a 5-part sale. I think it starts later this month. I know the sign-ups. I think the sign-ups finish on the 15th and it starts us at the 23rd. We have to join the Cotton Club for this one. It's a members stitch along. It's $8.50 a month. But that gives you access to a whole load of other charts as well. So I shall have a nose through there and see if there's anything that tickles my fancy. But yeah, it's woodland critters. It's very, very whimsical and cute. It's very 90s style. It ticks a lot of the Pammy boxes. So I've decided to go for it. And the worst that can happen is I decide I don't enjoy it and I don't progress with it. So yes, so I wrote a list. I have 26 things that I need to touch in March and work on. 12 new starts. I also have a little panda coaster I want to do for Bruce, because the 16th of March is International Panda Day, and we tease him about being a panda because the black hair's now got a fair bit of white in it. So yeah, 26 things to stitch with 11 new starts. I think, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 new starts. I think I might have bitten off more than I can chew. I think I have been hopelessly optimistic in what I can achieve. But I will do my best. All that stitching I did in the south, like I say, the doubling up of the figures. I mean, I dread to think how many thousand stitches I've done in the last 2 weeks. And I've eased off completely this week because I was way too sore. Really sore. So I need to find that balance between doing lots and lots of stitching and actually not breaking myself in the process. So I'll be back here on the 20th, and then it'll be the start of April, my next one. So we'll see how well I do on that that list of 26. Like I say, there's going to be 12 monochromatic pieces. I would like to do 200, 250 minimum on each one. My year of silhouettes, I think, will get a lot more than that. I think that'll kind of like be maybe a not quite a daily stitch, but heading that way. The wolf one, I need to get stitches in because of that Lion versus Lamb challenge event on Whip Warriors. There's the Whip Warriors Smalls event later in the month. There's another event in between now and then, a words one, which the details haven't come out on that, so I don't know what it involves yet. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of stitching ahead. It's all fun. It's all fun. And if I don't achieve these things, then the only person who has missed their targets is me. And it's not the end of the world. What is it they say? If you shoot for the moon, even if you fail, you still land amongst the stars. So yeah, that is my plans. Lots and lots and lots. So I have got a couple of things that have razzled my berries this last couple of weeks on Flosstube. As I said, I've not been watching a lot of Flosstube. I've been struggling to catch up with my friends that I always watch, let alone, you know, venturing around. I think my to watch later list is about 330 on it at the moment. I need to go through and get rid of that and take the guilt away from it. But there is a couple of things that has jumped out at me in the last couple of weeks. And of course I have a Scottish word of the day for you. So my berry razzlers for this video. They're both really, really simple, but awesome ideas. And probably ones that you've come across before, but to me they're almost so obvious. I'm a dunce for not having clicked before now. But the first one is from Nikki, from Nikki Next Crafts. And again, everything will be linked below. Now, I'm sure you've all seen people wrapping wooden hoops, wrapping the outside with ribbon or something to make a decorative finish before they finish their piece in it. Nikki has got the genius idea of wrapping hers with washi tape. She did it with a Christmas piece. I can't remember what it was called. It was a deer, like a Christmas deer. And she wrapped washi tape around it in the same kind of colours, and it just brought the whole thing to life. But washi tape is so much easier than ribbon. It's thinner and it sticks to itself. Rather than trying to, you know, juggle a slippy ribbon that it stays where it should, and it's quite bulky when you've got layers wrapped and all this lot. Washi tape. What a genius way to brighten up a wooden hoop for finishing. Genius, Nikki. Thank you. I hadn't put two and two together and come up with that. Nice tip. And the second one I wanted to mention to you is Sarah from Champagne and Stitches. She, like lots and lots and lots of people, does WhipGo. I don't do WhipGo because I've got too many projects in a go and I can't figure out how I would want to do it. And I'm quite happy just pick and choosing. I've got no issue with trying to find what to stitch. But after watching how Nikki does her WhipGo, I might have to change my mind. She's very clever. She was talking about how she would have an advent calendar, you know, a stitchy one. She was talking about the Coffee Crafts one, the one with the mix of the fabric and the kind of accessory scissors and needle minders, that kind of thing. So she got her advent calendar, her advent box, but rather than opening it in Advent, she opens it when she completes each WhipGo called for a stitch. She just uses the number of that's called for WhipGo and opens the corresponding part of her advent calendar. So her advent calendar lasts her all year through, and she gets a reward for each WhipGo target that she meets. That's genius. And also, it's only just into March, so in theory, you could try and save some pennies away to have 2 advent calendars. So one that you opened every day in December, and then another one that you kept to use for WhipGo next year. I thought, what a wonderful little reward. Because she said that she had tried doing the thing, you know, like if she finished her WhipGo challenge, she would allow herself to buy some stash. But it's very easy to kind of get out of control of that. Oh, I'll just get this while I'm at it, and I'll just get this while I'm at it. Whereas this is a nice little self-contained gift that's already chosen for you that you open 2 a month. Genius! Love it! Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Sarah. She also has some amazing stitching that you need to go and see as well on her latest Flosstube. So go and do that. So those are the 2 things that have razzled my berries that are not stitchy things to tell you about or anything like that, or new channels or anything like that, but 2 genius little hacks to make life a little bit brighter and easier. So that leaves us with our Scottish word of the day. Oh, it doesn't. I missed something really important. Oh, I got a new needle minder. Look at this beauty. I have used it. I kept the card to put it back on to show you. So you could see it's Paraffle is the company. This was a gift from a very, very lovely friend that I have made here on Flosstube and on Insta. We chat on Insta. And she sent me this because she saw this and thought of me. With the thistle and all my thistly stitches. I just love it. And I was very, very emotional when I opened it. And it came with a beautiful handmade card, which is sitting just over there. With a lovely, lovely message inside it. And I just wanted to say thank you, Wendy. I thanked you in person. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And what's really, really, really bizarre is I was watching Ellie's latest, her regular Flosstube, Ellie from Stitch and Bee, and she just treated herself to this very same. Isn't that just such a coincidence? But it's lovely, and it's got a really nice big strong magnet on the back. So I just wanted to show you all, and I say thank you to Wendy. You're an absolute sweetie. Is it Quitches? Is that what I would be sending you, or would I just send you posies? Thank you very much for thinking of me. I'm a very, very lucky girl, and I very much appreciate it. So yes, Scottish word of the day, thistles. But my Scottish word of the day today is one that, I mean, I've been lucky so far. I've been kind of able to find a link between the word and what we've been speaking about. And that has happened again this month, because today's word is muckle. M-U-C-K-L-E. That's straightforward. I always put the spelling of the words down below in the notes as well, so you can always find them there. But it's muckle. Excuse me, I just need a drink. And muckle means big, large. A muckle guddle is a big mess. And I have chosen muckle meaning big because I've got a muckle list of things to work on. So muckle, and you might have heard the saying, I've got to try and think of the words, money's a mickle max a muckle. Yeah, money's a mickle max a muckle. And it basically means lots of little things become a big thing. And that seems appropriate for cross stitch, because lots of little crosses make a beautiful picture, sampler, whatever it is at the end. But all those little bits add into something big, something more than its parts. And I suppose there's a relation there as well with you could apply it to look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. Again, it's that thing, that the little bits. So money's a mickle, max a muckle. Muckle meaning big, because I have a really, really big list of stitching to go on with. So with that in mind, I probably should actually stop havering here and go and do some of it. I hope I have kept you company adequately well this afternoon. I hope I've shown you some stitches that you've enjoyed. It'll be completely different stitching you're seeing next time. Hopefully there'll be some new starts in there. There'll be projects you haven't seen in several months in some cases. This will be No, you won't get Christmas and Halloween in the next one. It'll be the one after that. But yeah, there's a lot here you haven't seen for quite a while. And of the 26 left, of them are new starts, so you won't have seen them at all. So yeah, I really should go and get a head start on that. But hopefully I've distracted you for a little while as we've spent some time together today. We've forgotten about the real world and all the stuff that's happening in it, be it on the larger scale, everything that's going on in the world that we have to witness without necessarily having a huge amount of say in, although we still need to try and have our say. Or whether it's on a smaller level that I've given you a good reason to avoid doing some chores, or I've kept you company. I know that there are friends out there who will chuck me on as they're doing the ironing or doing chores around the house, and they'll just listen and just look up every now and then. Why you spend your time with my inane drivel, I have no idea, but there you go. But yeah, hopefully I have kept you company, brought a little bit of a smile to your face, made you feel a little bit less alone in the world. You've got a friend here. I always love hearing what everybody's up to. So tell me your news. Tell me your gossip. Tell me what stitching you've been doing. I have kids back at my door again. I never have kids at my door, but they're running wild. You can tell it's a nice day. I'll go and see them afterwards. I'll leave you to it for now. Take good care of yourself. Remember how important you are. You've got to look after yourself before you can look after other people. Don't let your own well run dry, and get lots of stitching done. If you have enjoyed spending some time with me here and you haven't already, I would be thrilled if you chose to subscribe and hit like. I'd love for this channel to grow, because it means I make new friends and I meet new people, and it's just the best thing ever. I wish we could all get round a really, really, really big table and do this in person and chat and compare stitching and borrow each other's scissors and all that kind of stuff. But geography doesn't allow for that. And I live quite a quiet life. I've got my crafty group and you know, other than that, I don't tend to go out much. So the friends I have made online are incredibly precious and special to me. So I'd love for this channel to grow so I meet more wonderful people. I love how this negates geography, and it negates all the differences that we have in our lives, and we're all allowed to have our opinions. You know, nobody's invalid. We might not always agree, but you're still allowed your opinions. You're still perfectly entitled, and they should be respected. And I'd like to think that this is a place where we can have those conversations respectfully. So if that appeals to you, I would be delighted if you hit the subscribe button, and you can do the whole Anita word, ring my bell thing, little button below, that will do a kind of alert within YouTube when I post. In fact, if you ring my bell, if you subscribe, I'll come up in your subscription feed. If you do the ring my bell, you'll get a message. You know, like alert on your front screen. I haven't got a clue about the hype button. Not a Scooby's how that works. I'm not in it for the tech and all that nonsense. But I'm havering again. See, I've told you before, I'm not good at saying goodbye. Don't like goodbyes. We'll just leave it as a till the next time. So till the next time, keep stitching, keep smiling, keep your chin up, and let's have a catch up again soon. Take good care of you. Bye-bye.